Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Jana Time presented by the School of Media and Communication of Adamas University. We hold discussions and sometimes debate about important and relevant topics of the society that need to be talked about. I am Genius Ahmed Sheikh, your moderator. Today we will discuss about the raising issue of the impact of Taliban regime on the women of Afghanistan. On 15th August, Sunday, Taliban militant retook Afghanistan's capital almost 2 decades after they were driven from Kabul by the US troops. Over past several days, analysts have described the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan as a massive intelligence failure. Yet, for many Afghan women's rights activists, the Taliban advances were anything but a surprise. For today's discussion, we have three panelists, Shoimrita Basu, Srijita Ghosh, and Subhasri Barmanu. My first question goes to Subhasri Barmanu. Subhasri, what do you think initiated the origin of Taliban?
We know the current situation of Afghanistan as the Taliban took over and seized the country's power in its hands. With regard to this context, I would like to start off the discussion by recalling the origin of the Taliban. Prior to the formation of the group, many leaders of the Taliban fought alongside the Afghan Mujahideen against the Soviet occupation. I am talking about the well-known Cold War period between the capitalist country USA and the communist country USSR. Not to forget, the Taliban were founded by Pakistan's Inter-Services Intelligence, or what we popularly know as ISI, which used them to establish a regime in Afghanistan as then it would be favorable for Pakistan. The Taliban were overall the planned product of USA, from whom they received their money, arms and weapons against the Cold War policy. So what we know and recognize as Taliban are the planned strategy created by the United States to beat USSR in their Cold War game. According to USA's plan, they did successfully repel Soviet forces in the 1980s, and by 1989, Soviet forces had pulled out from the country. Tremendous chaos followed as there was a full-blown civil war fought between the Taliban and the Mujahideen commanders fighting for power and dividing Kabul, the capital city of Afghanistan. During that time, the city was showered with rockets from all directions, resulting in mass destruction. These were basically the reasons that led to the formation of Taliban.
Thank you so much, Shubhasri. Now that we know the history of Taliban and the given history of that repressive past, my second question goes to Shoimrita. Shoimrita, what do you think will be the future of the women's right in the Afghanistan under Taliban regime?
What I believe, in the wake of the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan, the prominent question is whether Afghan women will suffer the sort of harsh treatment encountered during the 1990s, when the Taliban oppression portrayed Afghanistan a pariah state at the time. The Taliban 1.0 regime not only ruthlessly imposed social restrictions on women, such as mandatory burqa coverings, but predominantly restricted their access to healthcare, education, and jobs. It forbade women from appearing in public without a male chaperone, therefore sentencing widows and their children to starvation. The Taliban 1.0 regime destroyed Afghan institutions and the economy, which was already ravaged by decades of fighting. After the US invasion in 2001, the post-Taliban constitution in 2004 gave Afghan women all kinds of rights and brought all kinds of social and economic growth that significantly improved their condition. From a collapsed healthcare system with basically no medical services available to women, the post-Taliban regime constructed a number of functional health facilities. Women's life expectancy grew and mortality rate declined. Women's education and employment were highly encouraged. However, since the commencement of Taliban 2.0 regime, a massive question mark hangs over the fate of Afghan women and their rights. Even with the moderate behavior that the Taliban promises, it is very likely that the Taliban will seek to restrict the fundamental rights that Afghan women had before the takeover, worsening their social, economic, and political conditions. The fate of women's rights principally depends on the nature of negotiations between the Afghan government and Taliban and how weak have the Afghan government and security forces become. The representation of women's voices and interests have already been marginalized as there is no woman representative from the Taliban. Therefore, the Taliban will shape the existence of Afghan women. Although the Taliban promised the protection of women's rights within the limitations of their interpretation of Sunni Islam, but they failed to specify how or to what extent. So the issue of women's rights in Afghanistan faces highly uncertain prospects and possible deterioration in the near future. So that's all I'd like to say for now.
Thank you so much, Shamrita. The question has been arising from a lot of perspectives. And my third question goes to Srijita Ghosh, our third panelist. Srijita, where do you think the human rights stand in Afghanistan now that Taliban is in power and now they are in charge of lives of millions of people?
See, the entire world saw how Taliban seized the control of the nation few weeks ago, and the head of the extremist organization issued a press release. The Taliban confirmed they would allow women to pursue education and work. However, they are going to be confined within the limits of Islamic and Sharia laws. We all heard. When the organization ruled the nation two decades back, the people of the nation were not free. There was hate crime of all kinds. It was crime against humanity in general. Little girls were deprived of education. They were not given a chance to lead a healthy life where they would be safe, educated, and cared for. The entire gender was subjugated. I believe, even though the extremist organization claimed to honor the rights of the civilians in their statements, it is not going to be any different this time. The Taliban have already claimed that they would not uphold democracy for their newly conquered nation. We rightfully know where there is no democracy, there are no human rights. The recent reports from Afghanistan and what Swamrita mentioned already nullify human rights. The fear of Taliban has already made a lot of women burn their degree certificates to be safe from the clutches of the extremists. This suggests Afghanistan is not going to foster an environment where equal opportunities and education facilitates. There have been reports of blatant killings of journalists and other officials. This endangers the basic human rights of the civilians who are residing there and could not flee from their extremists. It is the struggle to stay alive and safe in such horrific conditions. The workers are being intimidated and threatened. The safety and security of the civilians in Afghanistan is not promised. People are making dire choices in fear. Videos surface of families throwing their children across the fences, people falling to their death from the airplanes. We all observed that. All of these unfortunate incidents perfectly portray what happens when you and your basic human rights are going to be stripped off and you will no longer be able to live a respectable life full of security and dignity. The human rights of the civilians of Afghanistan are clearly at stake. And I believe the world should not turn its eyes away from the grave crisis and take measures so that the people of Afghanistan and their rights can be protected. I would like to say this now, for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Srijita. Holding this discussion, my fourth question again to Shubhasri. Shubhasri, USCT tried to topple them very cleverly, but failed as they kept growing stronger. Do you think it backfired on them in a way?
I think USA wanted to keep their own creation under their control and use them whenever they wished to. However, it was coming as quite opposite to their thoughts as the Taliban gradually became independent, getting more stronger as days went by. They gained control over Kandahar, which is the biggest city after Kabul, with the promise to keep people safe. Then they hanged the last communist president, Najibullah Ahmadzai, in a public square. Soon after this, Afghanistan was declared as an Islamic emirate and then started the strict interpretation of the Islamic law. However, it was recognized by only three countries: Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Pakistan. Their initial plan worked pretty well as they were able to win some initial popularity. Gradually, the Taliban never erased the restrictions it was supposed to. These restrictions included banning women both from education and employment, with the only exception of female doctors. Defying this restriction meant either jail or beaten publicly. Music and television were also declared as innocuous activities. However, USA did not quit that easily and tried to tackle them again in 2001 by invading Afghanistan because Taliban denied handing over the Al-Qaeda's leader Osama bin Laden, who was hiding in Afghanistan. The US was desperately in search for bin Laden as he was the mastermind behind the deadliest attacks in the US. Within a couple of months, the Taliban were toppled over by the bombing campaign of US, after which a new constitution was formed. But by 2006, the Taliban had regrouped and included fighters in its campaign against its allies and foreign occupiers. USA's creation did backfire on them in a way, as it also had to spend a lot of effort in getting hold and killing bin Laden from their own creation. As a result, Afghanistan was devastated to its core due to the 20 years of conflict. Civilians and soldiers were killed in attacks, both by the Taliban and the US forces. Women were the worst affected back then, and they still continue to suffer the worst.
Thank you so much, Shubhasri. And our discussion is going on. And my second question from the second round, I mean the fifth question to Shoimrita Basu. Shoimrita, Taliban has worded the protection of women rights, but on the other hand, there are cases of women being shacked from their job, denied education, or having to cover themselves in burqas forcefully. What is your take on this uncertainty that prevails?
We know that since the US invasion in Afghanistan in 2001, women and girls have rejoined society in ways that would have been unimaginable under the Taliban regime. Now, those fundamental liberties are threatened. Various stories of women being sacked from their respective jobs have been surfacing since the takeover. These stories reflect the uncertainty and deep anxiety that the Afghan women face as they try to process what is fated to befall them in the Taliban regime 2.0. They are under the impression that the repressive past of the Taliban regime will return when the Taliban forbade women from working or leaving the house without a male guardian, eliminated schooling for girls, and publicly flogged those who violated the group's morality code. But Taliban officials have reassured that things will be different this time around. The Taliban claims that women will be given the right to work and education, even went to the length of encouraging their participation in government and society, however, within the bounds of Islamic law. The question now is whether the Taliban interpretation of Islamic law remains as draconian as it was during its initial regime. There have been some signs that the Taliban were in some areas adopting a more tolerant stance regarding the role of women in society. On the other hand, there are also scattered signs of Taliban reimposing the old order in some areas. For instance, women in some provinces have been told not to leave the home without a male relative escorting them. And also, residents of Kabul have been tearing down as advertisements of women without headscarves. And also, women officials are staying home due to being afraid of running into local Taliban officials. The very idea that the Taliban will suddenly change their notions regarding women have been greeted with deep and rather justified skepticism, and the uncertainty continues to prevail.
Thank you so much, Shoimrita. The last question for today's discussion, and the final question also, sixth question for today's discussion. This question goes to Srijita. Srijita goes. Srijita, what do you see Afghanistan as a nation heading towards in future?
If the world leaders and organizations turn a blind eye to this crisis and fail to take the right actions, I fear we might lose the people of Afghanistan to a hostile state where there would be no return. The heinous crimes against humanity would burn this nation down and push it towards the dark ages it fought so hard to come out from for the last 28 years. Afghanistan will turn into a nation where crimes against the humanity are the norm. I believe we would fail as humans and the world as we know it would change forever. We are looking towards a nation where children are not going to receive quality and impactful education in the near future. This will push the generations into darkness. If the world leaders and the organizations turn a blind eye, I fear no person in Afghanistan is going to live a healthy life. Not just education, healthcare of the people of Afghanistan is also going to be at stake. Women will no longer be able to receive quality healthcare from the professionals. They will be severely neglected. So many lives are going to be lost because of the lack of healthcare and proper treatment. The child and infant rate, which dropped, will suddenly increase, will steeply increase, I would say, in such torturous conditions. All of the progress the nation achieved in the last 2 decades is going to deteriorate, and adequate nutrition is also going to decline in such conditions. I believe apart from the education, safety, and healthcare that we discussed, the lives of the LGBTQ community is not going to be respected in a country invaded by Taliban. There will be no freedom of press or opinions either in a Taliban state. It is an attack on human rights of the people. From education to nutrition, freedom to safety, everything is guarded by the rifle-clad men of Taliban. We are looking at a state where there is no justice, equality, and democracy. Like I said, where there is no democracy, there are no human rights. We are looking towards a bleak future of the people of Afghanistan. If Taliban continues to stay in power, the country is slowly going to drift away into chaos. That's how I would like to conclude. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Srijita. And we discussed a few important points of a Taliban regime in Afghanistan today. This is the alarming human rights crisis that demands immediate attention. So we end our session here today. Thank you all the panelists. See you all next time. Please stay connected with us through our Facebook page and blog site Jana Post. Thank you so much.